Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my tutorial series. We are back. I had to get over an ear infection. It was very painful, and I'm back at it, working on my game. I've been doing actually a few projects. This is what took me so long. I'm working on a pass the game challenge, and I'm actually working with somebody else on their game project. So I've been actually doing stuff even though I've been sick. So what we're going to set up today is we want to go ahead and set up our attack functionality. As you can see, when I press our attack button, we get a trigger box or collision box to form. And it actually does damage whenever it hits certain objects. Like this box has a built-in damage function, and if I hit it enough times, it will break just like that. So let's go ahead and set that up. Now what we're going to first do is, I've already created a lot of this stuff, so I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to create another breakable box so we can test it when that time comes. Blueprint class, actor. We're going to call this breakable box 2 because I already have one. So let's go ahead and move this over to the side. Oops. Let's go ahead and set this back up again. So all we'll need really is this box. Oh wait, excuse me, static mesh. We just need a static mesh, just like that, and then we can set it to, what is it called? Crate, just like that. And that's all we'll need. The one thing we'll also need for us, at least for me, is what I want to do, is a health integer, because this will determine how many hits it takes to break the box. It's public, in case we want to change it in the level. So now we need to override one of our functions. We need the, can we get it from here? Yes, we can. Event any damage. So anytime we get any damage, we're going to branch. And then we're going to minus the health by our damage that we received. I did this wrong. Or I can convert that back to an integer, actually. Now, less than equal to. If it's less than or equal to 0, if that's true, we're going to destroy the actor, which is self. And we can come back and add some functionality to this later, but this is just for testing purposes. Like eventually we can come back and say when it reaches 0, it destroys and it spawns coins or whatever we want it to do. And then we're going to do set health. If that's false, we're going to set our health to whatever this was. And then we don't have to print the string, but we can. I did that for testing purposes. We always print strings for testing purposes. Boom, boom, boom. That's all set up. So that'll be a quick and easy way to test this. All right, so now what we need to do, we need to go to our animation. Let's find wherever your animations are at, which is my sword and shield stance. Now we have this animation. Now we have two in our asset pack. We have one that has root motion and one that doesn't. He just stays in place. So we're gonna keep the root motion. That's what we have. So we need to create a, what is it called? Off the top of my head, can you think? Animation montage. So right click your attack animation. Go to, where is it at? Asset actions. Is it in asset actions? That's how you know it's been a long time. Where'd I go? Create anim montage. There we go. So we're gonna call it sword. And, oh, we can't do that. And sword, shield, first strike. Now let's go ahead and open that up. Boom, boom. Now what we are going to need is we need to create an anim notify to notify our blueprint that we should start spawning in the trigger box for collision. So right about here. Now some people, they'll attach a collision box to the sword, or they'll do multiple collisions while the sword is swinging through the air. And this isn't, to be honest, this isn't that kind of game. It doesn't need to be like Dark Souls or something, or For Honor or something like that, where we need to do that trace all the time. This is just basically like a kid's game. We don't need the most accurate trace in the world. We just need for him to be able to hit whatever's in front of him. So right about here, I couldn't think from him. I had a brain fart. Right about here, we need to add a, where is it at? Add notify, montage notify. And we're going to call this spawn hit collision. If I spelled that right. So let's save that. Boom, boom. That should be good right there. Yeah. Go ahead and spawn hit collision. So now, another thing we need to set up is the actual button for us to be able to attack. So let's go here. My VP and my controls. We're going to create a new input. Where is it at? Input action. MIA underscore attack. And then we'll go here. The triggers are boolean, and we need two triggers. Pressed and released. Now, you could get away with just pressed, but I'm thinking there may be an instance where how we charge our super jump, where we may want to charge an attack. So we may want to press it and hold it, and when he lets go or a time satisfaction is met, they release a more powerful attack. So we want to have that option and that availability. So our my IMC, which is my input mapping control. Now I set this up to where I did this, and I added it to my MIA attack. Then we need our left mouse button. And the next thing we need is, in respect to that, which I feel like I'm not going to do this anyway. I don't feel like there's ever going to be an instance where I'll let the player use the controller or the keyboard to play, because two player would be kind of, a lot. So right trigger. Boom, boom, boom. Just like that. So now we're going to come into our Aki character, our main character, and we're going to go and set this up. Now I have it set up right here, but we're going to set up again, obviously, because we're going to do it again together. So one thing we're going to do is this. We're going to call our MIA attack. MIA attack. Now on started, we can print string started. Let's do this. Started, print string, and then we'll say completed, just to test it out, so you can show that it's working. And we have to disconnect this, or else it's going to keep running. Let's go here. Let's test it out. Now if I call an attack, start it when I press it, when I let go, it's completed. So that's just as simple as that. It's working. Let's open our stuff back up. So now we're going to add some functionality to it. So what we're going to need is our mesh, because that's the root of everything. When we change the mesh, it changes everything else. So play montage, sword, we want to play that. And on our notify begin, whenever we get this, whenever it calls this, oh my gosh, not right here. I'm trying to play it, but I can't get it. Whenever we get this, we want to start spawning our hit collision boxes. So on notify begin, we're going to do a multi box trace. I said line trace earlier by mistake, but box trace. A multi box trace. And we need to get an array. For the objects we want to check, we don't want to check world static. We want to check pawn, world dynamic, and destructible. Boom. And the objects we want to ignore is, we're going to make another array. We're going to get the player controller, get controlled pawn, and we want to ignore the player that the controller is controlling. That was a little redundant. And also we're going to duplicate this, and we need to do this for the second controller as well, which will be controller 1. So we want to ignore both of our player characters. I can remove this pin. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Now next, we want to do this. We need to get our capsule component, get world rotation. And this would correct it to our rotation in the world to correct the orientation. Next, we need to get our world location. And we need to also get a reference to ourselves. We need to get our forward vector because we need to find out which direction we're facing. And multiply this by, switch it to precise, I'll float. Multiply, let's say, by 100. And you can play around with these numbers to whatever satisfies you. And this is, okay, what this is going to do is if it returns that our X or whatever direction we're facing, it'll get those numbers. And when we multiply, it'll like basically make the box bigger in that direction. So we want to start from where we're at. And then we want to end up 100 or so, I don't know what you would call this, 100 points ahead of where we're facing. And the size of this, which I already had my numbers, but you can play around with these numbers and figure out what's best suited for what you need. 75, 50, and 100 was best for me. And again, play around with these numbers, like I said. Draw time. We'll leave it for duration. I mean, not persistent, for duration. Now, for whatever we hit, we need to do for each, because we can hit multiple things in that box. And we need to break the hit results. We need to get our hit actor, really. And can take, wait, hold on. Can be damaged. We'll do a double check because I feel like it might break. At first I went straight into apply damage, but I'm gonna add this. Can be damaged. If that's true, if that is true, we're gonna apply damage. And the damage we're gonna apply, the damage causer also is ourself, and the damage we're gonna apply is our attack string. Boom, boom. Alhamdulillah, we should be all set, and that should be actually functional. So now if we go back to our game, when we swing, line trace is going in the correct direction. MashaAllah. And if we attack the box, oh yeah, we didn't never set the attack the number. Let's set the health for the box to 1. And of course I'm lagging whenever I try to test it. Boom, 1 hit and it's gone. Now if we set it to, let's say 4, it means it should take 4 hits to break this box. And also because it's working, this lets you know our damage function is working. So we should be able to damage an enemy as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. MashaAllah, we got it all set up. And we're going to go ahead and get to a stopping point here. I do believe we're going to come back and edit this a bit because we're doing it all from our player character, but some of this might need to be offset to our sword, depending on how complicated we make it. But alhamdulillah, that was enough for one tutorial. Actually, I'm happy to be back and doing this again. It was quick and simple. I'll see y'all in the next part of the tutorial series. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.